Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Shakti Flow. Let's take a comfortable seat, as we always do, to start our practice together. Closing the eyes, letting the shoulders drift down the back, taking a moment just to settle. And as we settle, we start to notice the little sensations or noises, maybe in our head, maybe in our body, maybe in our heart. And when we notice them, if they're uncomfortable, our pattern is to try to push them away, distract ourselves so that we can't necessarily feel them or sense them. But we can't deal with something we don't know is there or we are not feeling. And so today's practice is all about moving and holding intention, focused awareness to help rinse, clear, break up what we call psychic residue. Residue of the mind, residue even of the heart, and especially residue of the body. Things that feel sticky, things that kind of hold us down a little bit. And as we move, I want you to become very aware of what releases, what lets go. And then also, this is a both and, what turns on, what opens, what expands. Let's bring the hands together, holding that intention and anything else that you have for yourself on your mat this morning. May the practice be exactly what you need. Take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, the hands can release, the eyes can flutter open. All right, so today we're going to start down on the floor. You're going to need your blocks with you. And we're going to lie on our backs, but just make sure you have your blocks and anything else you need close to you. I want you to just lay all the way down. Take a moment to check in with yourself. That's another way to really notice what's going on and not be too busy. Have you ever noticed yourself being too busy? And then you go, well, I didn't even pay attention to the beautiful day or how my body felt so energized or just anything. So sometimes we have to slow down a bit. Once you're down on the floor, just again, another little bit of awareness. You guys have been up for a bit, so your body's a little bit more open. I probably just got up an hour ago, so my body, I can tell my body still has a little residue, stickiness from the sleep. Go ahead and bend your knees, and I want you to take your right ankle across your left thigh, left knee. And this is a familiar action. We do it all the time, but I want you to add a piece to it. So I want you to press your ankle into your knee so that you can feel the engagement of your outer leg and hip. It's not hard. You don't have to do it super hard. And then keep that engagement as you bring your left leg in and up towards you. Now we're going to lift it up and put it down a bunch of times. So when you get to your edge, you're like, wow, that's a deep stretch. Relax everything and go back down. Push against your leg, create the engagement, and then lift while you hold the engagement. And then put it back down. So the work, if you will, is when you're lifting and you're holding that engagement and the muscle is stretching while you're working it. And then when you're resting, it's when you go back down. Press and then lift, keeping your core body engaged. I know you guys know that. Taking a moment to just really think about, I don't want to stress or overwork my core body. Okay, we're going to do one more. Push, and then lift. You come to your edge, you keep coming, and then rest. Okay, arms are open. They could be in a T or a cactus. We're just gonna rock from right to left with our legs in this position. So rocking from left buttocks, left glute to right glute. And just pay attention to what you're feeling as you go. Your head will naturally turn away from the direction of the legs. So if that's what's happening, go ahead and let it. It's a real natural action of the spine because you're twisting the spine one way. The top of the spine wants to go in the opposite direction as a counterbalance. So if your head naturally does that, just let it do it. And we'll go one more. I want you to try to do, equal sides. So remember what side you started with. And then come back up. Now just stretch that leg straight up to the ceiling. Hold it straight up and flex and point your foot a couple of times. And then stretch the leg all the way down, nice and long, as if I were pulling on your ankle. Good. And then rest. Other leg. Left ankle across right knee. So start pushing the ankle into the knee to engage the outer leg. And then while that's going on, pick the right leg up and start to draw it towards you. When you get to your edge, release it and let it go. Push and then pull forward. So we're doing that technique that I started doing last year, and then I kind of got away from it. But we're working a little bit in the hips today, the outer leg. And I wanted to go to this because it helps to warm up is not the right word. It helps to lubricate the area that we're working with. It helps to wake up. And I used to use the analogy of flossing your teeth. It's kind of the same idea. All right, one more. So push your leg into your knee and then lift. If your hip flexor on your lifting leg is tired, that's because you're working it a little. And then rest. From here, put your arms either in cactus or T and then go back and forth, side to side. And finding your way through here, doesn't have to go all the way to the floor. You're just rocking, waking yourself up. I don't know about you, but this feels really good in my body right now. All right, remember to end on your second side. And then go ahead and stretch your leg straight up to the ceiling. Remember to straighten your leg all the way and then flex and point your foot. Next time you flex the foot, keep it that way and stretch all the way down. Nice long leg. Reach both legs down, reach both arms up, give it a big stretch. And then as you exhale, bring your knees together, maybe pick your head up if you like. And then we're going to roll over and come into child's pose. And then we're going to take a moment to pause again. So child's pose, knees open, feet together, let your hips sit back. You're welcome to stretch your arms out over your head. You're welcome to let your head rest on your hands. I just want you to pause in this neutral position again to see what's present. You're in a flexed position now. From your hip, a little bit of extension of the spine. So just notice what's present. And then finding your way to tabletop pose, opening hands. Remember, hands can always move around. I'm not real rigid around the whole wrist has to be under the shoulders bit, but you do want to challenge them a little. So there's that. Turn your toes under, lift your tailbone, lift your heart, lift your eyes. Drop your shoulders down your back here. Really feel the middle of your back release. And then flip your feet, push into cow or cat pose, and really push into your arms and feel the middle of your back expand. So do that a couple of times. Our default in this action is always the lower back. So can you bring your awareness a little higher? Maybe from, waist to bra line, waist to shoulder blades. Next time you go through cat and cow, pause in the middle, turn your toes under. Let's go to an easy downward facing dog. Feel free to pedal your legs. Feel free to wiggle your hips around. You can even keep a wider hand position to keep space in your shoulders. And then after you do that, you can find a place to pause. I want you to do that. So nice release here. Shoulders are relaxed down the back body, heads between the arms. Knees can be straight or bent depending on your spine. Sitting bones rising high up to the sky. Heels are descending down to the earth. On your next inhale, start to walk yourself forward to the front of the mat. Once you get into the front of the mat, pause here. See if you can bend your knees and turn your hands upside down and push your backs of your hands to the floor. You might need to bend your knees a lot in order for you to reach that, but that's fine. And then from there, go ahead and see if you can bring your hands up to your lower back. Interlace your fingers, and I want you to come halfway up and push your arms straight away from you. Your legs can be straight here, or they can be bent. I want you to think about your back body. We worked on this last week. And then I want you to draw the hands up over your head. Let your head dangle. If this feels extremely hard, I want you to get a strap. Now, I want you to straighten your right leg and bend your left knee and twist to the right. Stay there for a breath and really open up your right shoulder. And then come back to center. Straighten your left leg, bend your right, and twist open to the left. And then come back to center. Good. From here, imagine your knuckles coming up to the ceiling. I want you to push through your feet, lift your knuckles, lift your knuckles, lift your knuckles. And then when you get all the way as far as you can go, you'll naturally come standing and the arms will come behind you. From there, release your hands and stand in Tadasana. Find your Tadasana, your resting pose or your awareness pose. Yeah. Alrighty. Looking at my notes. I worked on this right before. Oh, this is where I want you to have a block. So some of the work we're going to work with today is abduction, which means moving away from the body. So I want you to stand on your block. Now, if you have foam blocks and your foot like barely lands on it, like your toes are over it, take both your blocks. I'll show you with mine. Put them end to end, and then stand on both of them. Okay. I want you to feel stable. I don't want your blocks. Some of the foam blocks are just really squishy. Alrighty. So standing in neutral as best as we can. Your bottom leg's going to be just slightly back. It's not going to be right perfectly lined up. And your front foot, the one on the blocks, is going to be pressing all the way down. So we're just going to lift up, pushing into the block. Can you see how I can still touch my tippy toe? But I don't have any weight on that leg. And then lower back down. So push and lower. Now I want you to keep going. I want you to think about your hips being level. You might even want to have a hand on a wall. And you're going to start to think about this leg moving away from you and then down. And moving away from you and down. And once you have that action, I want you to think about the opposite hand moving away from you and down. Now, this is a simple action we're doing right now. I'm not doing it on purpose to be super hard. I want you to get it in your body. What leg do you feel is working more? Good. The next time we're going to come up to standing and stay right there. Flex your extended leg, reach your fingers, push into your standing block. Good. Take the other arm out. See if you can hold the balance. And then release. Nice, switch your feet. And then let's just start with the leg, this block leg, I'll call it. You're gonna push down and get up here. Watch that you don't throw your hips around. It's cute and everything, but don't do it. Push. And down. And then once you feel like you've got that action going, because this is the primary action, you're gonna abduct this leg. Reach. And don't go so far that you feel your pelvis tilting. This is a big problem that we have, and that's why we can't hold balance. And then once you have that, start with the opposite arm. Reach and down. The opposite arm will help to balance this action. Keep the moving leg, the lifting leg flexed when you lift it, and the toes stay pointing forward. Push. Uh-oh, Sharon froze. All right, last time. And then we're gonna hold and balance. Hold and balance. Press down, maybe the other arm comes open. Keep holding the balance, pushing down into the standing leg. That's the most important part. Good catch, Karen. And release and come down. Good, shake it out a little bit. We're gonna use the blocks here. So put them in the middle of your mat, however you have them. And we're gonna stand on one side. We're just basically gonna step over it. Okay, so step over it and step over it. And step over it, and step over it. So I have mine on the lowest position, right? Some of you, nope, it looks like everybody's got it. All right, so for funsies, you can do this. I'm going to show you, but then I'm not going to keep going. You can hop. I'm going to stay walking, but you can hop it if you want. Don't hit your block. This is proprioception. You'd be surprised how many people can't do this. Are you hopping? Some of you are hopping. Yeah. Last 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Okay, now just for funsies again, stack your blocks one on top of another. And then we'll do it again. So I want you to have a higher stack. And I just have mine on the lowest block size, but I've got them stacked one on top of the other. Now step over it. And of course it feels different, right? Because you got to lift your legs way up. And you could even not look down and trust that your body has a peripheral sense around it that it's not going to step on it. And then if you dare, you can hop it. I'm going to walk it. So we're working on the outer hips here. Outer hips, yep. So we're playing, you know? Yes. April's like, yes, do more of that. Let's see if she likes that when I get to the next phase. Go ahead and rest. All right. Enough of that crazy. Put your blocks aside. Come back to Tadasana. Your weights are near you, but you're not going to use them just yet. I want you to bring your legs all the way together, like a one unit, like you got your legs wrapped. Alrighty? And then we're going to sit into an easy chair. So hips go back, knees bend, and we find our chair pose. First chair pose of the day. Draw the belly in, and then bring the arms forward, shoulders connect. Now we'll start easy. Turn the palms to the wall or the floor, and you're going to push back so that now the palms are to the ceiling, and reach forward and look forward. Push. We don't have weights in our hands, but we're going to put them in them in a minute. Now, as you push your hands back, can you come up on the balls of your feet? So you're just on your tippy toes and stay there. Can you go lower in your squat maybe? Good. And then play with your own range of motion. How far can your arms come up without feeling congested, without feeling that sticky residue? So you're up on the balls of your feet, you're squeezing your legs like they're tied together, and you're moving your arms. One more. Now, if you feel balanced, you can just stand on the balls of your feet. Not so much for me this morning. And rest. All right, now pick up your weights. I'm going to use my twosies. We're going to work with triceps and biceps, just so you know. So you can probably pick up not a super heavy weight because it's our first weight, but something that's challenging. If I were working to my capacity, I'd probably pick up my sixes, but I'm going to keep it down just to see how I do today. So we're going to go back to that tight-legged, squeezing legs together squat. Find your chair pose, and then bring your arms forward in front of you, palms down, shoulders on your back. Now push back, keep them there, and bend the elbows and push. Bend the elbows and push. So very stationary in the legs, very organized in the body. I'll use that word. Bend and push. The action and the focus I want you to have is on the push back. Last two. Good. Now, when you come to standing, your hands are going to turn around and the palms are going to come up towards you. From here, lower and lift. And this one always feels easy, right? Because it's biceps, it's super easy. We're used to picking heavy things up. Squeeze your upper arm when you get to the top, squeeze. And we've got 3 more. Legs are still together, organized still in the body. Now I'm going to put that together, okay? So squat, push, stand, curl. Squat, push, stand, curl. Keep going. So nice and slow, push palms back, nice and slow, pull palms in. Good. So 4 more here. Good, last time. And then just pause. Just pause for a moment. Just take a moment here. Stand. Tadasana. Similar action. You're going to keep a lighter weight. But this time I'm going to give you the option to stand in what I like to call the squat lunge, or I can't make up my mind. So squatting is here. Yeah. Lunging is back here. Yeah. You're in the middle. You're somewhere in the middle. We did this last week too. And we're going to hinge forward so that all of our weight is in this front leg. Now, if you say to yourself today, don't like it, bring your feet together and have yourself in this stance. Your lower back is neutral and no longer are you upright. You're more forward, much more challenging position to be in. Hands go down and the thumbs touch each other. You know, the ends of your weights on the thumbs are touching each other. You're going to open the arm and then you're going to row with a bent elbow out. And then open the arm and bent elbow. Good, keep going. So the elbows go out to the side. And I'm not trying to lift my weights. Whoops, now bent elbows. I'm not trying to lift my weights. I'm trying to open my arm and then I'm trying to open my elbows. We're working in the upper back and in the rear shoulder, which tends to be pretty weak. 1 more. And then pause, bring your weights to your chest and stand all the way up for a minute and bring your knee forward to balance. Taking a moment here. See if you can turn the leg open, keep your balance, and put your foot somewhere on your leg. So we're in tree pose. If you feel comfortable with the weight you have in your hand, you could put it up over your head. Okay, if you've got heavier weight, I'd probably keep it at your chest. And balance here, strong. Release and come down. Release your standing, relaxed foot. Okay, other side. So if you were standing on 2 feet, it's going to be the same on the side. If you did that squat lunge where you can't make up your mind, you're on your other leg. And then you hinge from your hip. So the spine stays nice and straight. Thumbs end to end. And then you're going to take the arms, elbows open and down, and then wide arms. So you want to think about your pinky side of your arm hand coming towards the ceiling. All your weight is in this front leg. This back leg is just kind of helping you balance. An elbow, core body's engaged. Whoops, I keep doing that. I start talking and then I get confused where I am in my body. And down and open. Good. Last time, all the way around. And then we're taking the weights to the chest, coming up to standing, and then lifting your back leg up to balance. Whoop. A little bit weaker on the side. Press into your standing leg like if you were staying on the block. See if you can open your knee and then put your foot somewhere. Doesn't really matter to me where it is, just don't push against your knee. Balance, steady, focus. Good. Release and come down. Okay, set the weights aside. Come to the top of your mat. Stand in Tadasana for a moment. As we inhale, the arms come up over the head, palms reach together, and as you exhale, fold forward. Nice slow movement. Fingertips touch the floor, head releases. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthening through the spine. Exhale down, step back into plank pose. Now, plank pose you don't like on your hands, you can do it on your forearms, you can do it on your knees. Stay for what they call a beat. And then soften your knees and bring your sitting bones up to the sky for downward facing dog. Go for the length of your spine before the legs because I want you to have that neutral spine after those single leg motions we just did. Noticing your shoulders, noticing your core body. This week in my live classes, I talk a lot about the front body and the back body meeting each other. So go ahead and rest down onto your legs. And if you can sit on your knees facing me, go ahead and do that. And if not, you can sit on a block. We're just going to be here for a moment. And I want to go through that just a little bit with you. I'll turn sideways. So the front of our body, from your pubic bone all the way up to the collarbones, top of the shoulders, is your front core. Back body, tailbone to the top of your shoulders, back core. And we want to match them, yeah? I've talked about this before with you guys. So the front body match is drawing the belly in. We do this all the time. And from about the ribs to the hip bones, we feel this connection. Can you feel that? Now what I want you to do is turn your palms forward and then bend your elbows like you're in cactus. Draw your elbows down into your back body to engage your upper and middle back. And now think again about this front body, because what will happen when you engage your back body, you throw your pelvis or your ribs forward. So you want to pull your ribs in, and then you pull your shoulders in, and you can even reach around and grab your fingers like we did in the beginning to really engage everything. So the more we do the arms, the more we're going to push the body forward. So keep action in both front and back, and we call that a match. So I didn't focus on that in the beginning, and when we were doing all those single leg things, that could have been a factor. So I wanted to just give it to you now, and then relax. All right, so we're going to be on the floor for a minute. We're prepping for something to come up if hopefully I have enough time. So we're going to be on our forearms. My elbow is slightly ahead of my shoulder and my palm is ahead of my elbow. So I don't have a 90-degree here. It's a little bit wider. And I want on purpose my shoulder to come into my body, not up here by my ear. So I'm going to push into my hand and I'm going to get that shoulder integrated into the back of my body. Can you feel how it's back there? It's not forward, it's back. All right, knees are bent, feet are tucked under a little bit. And all I want you to do is think about that match. So lift the ribs, lift the belly, lift the back, and then lift the hips up. So the hand can stay on the hips. You don't have to worry about the top hand. We're just going to drop it down and lift it up and see if we can keep that engagement. Can we keep that engagement in the shoulder? Can we keep the engagement in the core? And you're just tapping the hips and up, back, come back up. And you're looking for about parallel to your own shoulder. 2 more. Don't let your shoulder come out of the place you put it. Good. And then release it. All right, now stay here. Take your top leg down and you're just gonna lift it up. You're not gonna go too high or you're gonna collapse. So just think of getting it off the floor. All right, and then we're gonna hold it there while we try to lift the hips again. Ready? So push into your arm, get your shoulder engaged, and then lift. And lower. And lift. So this is outer hip. Abduction. And if it feels way too hard, then that top leg comes back. And you work here. Got 2 more. Push into your hand. Keep your shoulder into its socket. And lift. And lower. Okay, come on out. Shake your arms out. That works the entire side of your body. I'm focusing on the hips, but you also are getting your shoulder and your core. So once you set up on the other side, remember, elbow not too far away, just a little bit. Hand slightly in front of the elbow. And you'll know you have it right when you push into your hand and you feel your shoulder kind of suck into the little pocket it's supposed to be in. And then you think about the front and the back of the body matching and you're not throwing your body forward. And then from there, you lift your hips. And lower your hips. And lift. So knee on top of knee, my feet are kind of tucked underneath me. And I'm using the leverage of my shins on the floor to help me. So hips up. Trying to keep the chest open. Keep pressing into your hand to keep the shoulders engaged. 1 more. And then pause. Take your top leg to stretch it out. And then see if you can take it off the floor just a tiny bit. And if you feel your whole body kind of sink down, I want you to really counter that. And then see, can you lift? And down. And lift. Isn't that funny how hard it is without one leg? And lift. And down. Remember, you can always tuck your leg in. I'm doing the same thing just to honor where I'm at in my body. Push. And down. Use your hand. And down. Last one. Push. And down. Good. Now come up to tabletop. And then just rest in child's pose again for a minute. Just take a moment. Let your body come back to symmetry. And then as you feel ready, you can come up to downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And again, let downward facing dog. Imagine I have a hold of your pelvis and I'm lifting you up and back. So there's this lengthening happening in your spine. And even here, you could feel the front body and the back body working together. Can you feel your ribs and your belly kind of pulling in and up while your back, shoulders, and your upper back are kind of completely pulling in and down? And then find your little walkabout to the top of your mat. Inhale, come halfway up, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, fold all the way down, let it go. And then inhale, come halfway up, stay. Take your arms around behind you. We did this already. Press your knuckles away. And then lift your hands so your head descends. Soften knees as you need. In fact, it's probably better that we do it that way. Now, let's try to straighten the right leg, bend the left knee, and twist open to the right. See if you have a little bit more range. Come back to center. Straighten the left leg, bend the right knee, and twist to the left. Come back to center. Drop your hands, lift your head, come all the way up. Good. Release to Tadasana. So that movement we just did with the twisting, we're asking stretch to happen here. So if that's really hard, you probably have some tightness there. So, and if you have tightness, there's weakness. Just saying. All right, so a little bit more weight work. I want you to go ahead and grab your heavier weights this time. And we're going to stand in a wider stance. We're going to move to warrior one type shape. So turn your right foot to face the front of your mat and your back heel a little bit behind you, and then come into a kneeling position. So you can have it an easy warrior. I'm making mine easy. You can have it harder. It doesn't matter. The more lower you go, the deeper it is, the harder it is. Okay. And then put both of your weights in one hand and come down onto your forearm. So I want you to bring your weights down by your front foot. See how your shoulders way out of the socket? Pull the shoulder up and then bring the hands to your waist. Down, pull up, down, and pull up, and down, and pull up. Keep the knee right over the ankle, back leg nice and straight. So we're working the legs. Can you focus on the core, shoulder, and then ribs? Lots to focus on. All right, we're going to do one more. All right, next time you bring your weight up, leave it there and come to upright position and turn your feet forward so that you're more open. Now, you can use one weight, one arm with both weights. I'm going to separate mine because it's too much right now. And that same hand you were just using is up by your shoulder. So I was using my right hand. If you went with me, you might have been using your left. That arm goes down and up. So you're in biceps again, and I want you to challenge yourself. When I was doing my one muscle group at a time, I'm going back to a really old strength training routine where you completely fatigue the muscle. So I did about four or five rounds until I couldn't lift my weight more than about 4 or 5 times. I kept increasing the weight, increasing the weight, increasing the weight. And yeah, my biceps were tired. So you can do that with any muscle group to really get it stronger. One more. All right, good. And then from here, maybe walk your feet in a tiny bit. I want you to feel stable. Both hands to your shoulders. You're welcome to do one weight or two. If you've got two weights, hands come together. They're going to come together either in front of your face or over your head, doesn't matter. So arms are long, and then you're going to bend your elbows and push straight up. So this is where we want to focus on this core piece. Can you soften your knees enough to pull your lower belly in and up? Ribs in and down. Back body engaged. Yeah. And down and push one more time. Down and push. Bring your weights down carefully. And then we're going to go back to the other side. So open your feet a little bit again. Point your other foot, and your back heel releases back. And then you're in this warrior again. Two weights in one hand. I want it hard on purpose. And then lean over this front leg. So you're going to bring the weight to the front, inside of the front foot. Pull the shoulder up into the socket first. And then pull the weight. Release down. So there's a lot of controversy about the way I'm doing this. Some people say don't disengage the shoulder so that you can stay focused on the back body. But I believe that if you can work both of these areas at the same time, your body has a good memory of, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be when I'm picking something heavy up, like a box or a kid or anything else. Wheelbarrows full of mulch. Down. And one more. So shoulder and then pull. The next time you bring your weight up, leave it there and then come to standing. Turn your feet so they're square and look down to make sure they're even. And again, use two weights or just get rid of one. Palm facing forward, bicep curl here. And down. And curl. Good. Soft knees. Remember, can you pay attention to your core body? And then at the very top of this action, we're at 4 here. If you can get to 8, and it doesn't feel hard, your weight's too light. And I know in this kind of a class, it can be a pain to pick weights up and down all the time. And this is 7. And one more for 8. All right, now you can choose a heavy weight or a light weight. We're gonna go back to shoulders with those thumbs here. We're gonna go straight up the body, so we are working with the shoulders. Go ahead and turn the heels in a little bit. And when you bend your knees, you're gonna be either in a high squat or a low one. When you stand, your hand's gonna come up to your chest, elbows wide. Down, up, down, up. So my body is not leaning forward. My weight's really not coming past my chest so that I don't get up into my shoulders. Up into my neck. I'm really trying to isolate the shoulders. And then when you get to the top, do you feel your shoulder blades in your back body? Can you feel that? One more. Good. And pause. Awesome. Bring your feet together. Set your weights down. Come back to Tadasana at the top of your mat. Once you're in Tadasana at the top of your mat, just do a little assessment. Check in with the physical body. Check in with your breath body. Check in with the state of your mind. So moving, sweating, squeezing. I always think about this clearing or this rinsing, like you're rinsing off something that's dirty, like a dirty window, right? And you scrub it and then you rinse it, it's nice and clean. So we're scrubbing and then we're rinsing. Make sure you drink lots of water. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead, big reach. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale all the way down and step back into plank pose. Now, it's a little variation here. I want you to bring your right knee forward and then take your right foot and stretch it out to the wall behind, to the left. So you can see my right leg is underneath me, and then bring it back. Stretch back to dog pose, and then come back to plank pose, and let your left knee come forward a little. Sneak your left foot over to the right and hook the outer edge of your foot to the floor. And you're in a twist here, yeah? Come back to center and dog pose. So we're gonna see how this goes. Come forward, bring your right knee in and stretch it out to the left. When you do that, drop your left foot down. So you're in a prep pose, but you're holding yourself here. One time, try to bring your right hip toward the floor and then lift it back up. Yikes! Bring it back to center. Dog pose. One more on the other side. So knee forward, bring it over to the right. Once it's there, drop your right inner foot. So you've got both legs flexed. And you're going to try, without bending your elbows, to bring your hip to the floor and then bring it back up. Dog pose. Take a moment here and then rest in child's pose for a moment. So if that felt really fun and easy, you're ready to do repetitions on that action, which will not only stretch but strengthen your outer hip. If that felt really hard, you do one and then you rest. And then maybe you do another and then you rest. And then you do another and you rest. And so we just keep playing with it. We're gonna do one more round of those because I want you to get it in your body. It's a really nice action. And then we'll repeat something similar when we get to the floor. So come to table, drop your right elbow to the floor. I'm gonna let your hip kind of get over that last action and come up on your fingertips on your left hand. And you're gonna take your left leg straight back behind you and turn it down on its inner edge. Now what I want you to watch is that your right hip doesn't drop to the floor. So you could move this right foot around a little to help you with leverage. You're gonna lift that left leg up towards the ceiling. So it's like we're in half moon pose, but we're on our knees. So keep an eye on where you are. Shoulders stay over or behind the elbow. Hips, right hip stays over the knee. And the chest stays open as much as it can. You're going to bring this foot down and up. So touch the floor and lift it. And touch the floor and lift it. 2 more like that. Touch the floor and lift it. And then I want you to stay lifted and bring the knee to your left elbow all the way and then push it back away. Exhale, knee to elbow, push it away. 2 more like that. Knee to elbow, push it away. 1 more. Now do 1 of each. Lower down, lift up, knee to elbow, and press away. Lower down, lift up, knee to elbow, press away. 2 more. Lower down, lift up, knee to elbow, push away. Last one. Knee, foot down, foot up, knee to elbow, push away. Good. Rest in child's pose for a moment. Woo! Oh, and she wants to lift her hand up and balance. I love it. Go to town, Sharon. All righty. You can tell when somebody takes a lot of yoga classes because she knows what she can add. She wanted to do half moon, yes. All righty. Take a breath and then we're trying the other side. So come back up to table. Find your left forearm on the floor and tense your right fingers. And then stretch your right leg down and put it on the inner edge. And then again, check yourself out. For me, it feels a little bit more stable if I move my left foot a little bit behind and give it a little push so I can keep my hip up. And then lift and lower this top leg. Straight up and straight down. Straight up and straight down. 1 more. Straight up and straight down. Now lift the leg and keep it in the air. And bring your right knee to your right elbow and push it away. 3 more like that. Knee to elbow, exhale, push it away. Knee to elbow, push it away. And now do 1 of each. Drop the foot down, lift the foot up, knee to elbow, and push it away. 3 more cycles. Pay attention to your left hip that it doesn't go behind you. Knee to elbow, push away, drop the foot. And once you do 4 cycles of that, if you want to do what Sharon did, she lifted her hand up off the floor and tried to balance. Whee! And come on back down to child's pose. I love it. Now let your child's pose come on up a bit so that you're on your forearms. Walk your arms a little bit ahead of you, palms are together. And rather than thinking about dropping down, can you think about getting longer? So your hips are moving back and maybe your hands and your elbows are squeezing a little forward and you're getting some sensation in your middle body, not just your hips or your lower back. And breathing is a good thing. All right, so we're going to try that hard one more time. So come back to table. And let's come back to plank. Now you can rest if you need. This time left leg floats forwards, shoot it out to the right, flex that foot, and land down on your right inner edge foot. Keep your hands nice and strong, and see if you can just drop your hips down. And go all the way back up. If you can do that once, try it 1 more time. Don't bend your elbows here. And up. Go back to plank and go to dog pose for a moment. Take a breath. Go back to plank. And try the other side. Right knee floats in, right foot stretches out, left foot lands. Flex both feet. Lower just the right hip down. Keep your arms nice and strong. And then lift them back up. If you can do 1, do 2. And up. Come back to downward facing dog. Now that's no joke. You're working on your hips, but you also have a lot of upper body going on. Good. Come forward to plank. Bring your knees to the mat. Lower yourself to the floor. Take a moment here. Hands can be wherever. Shoulders are wrapped around your back body. Elbows are in. Push down through your feet and just lift your chest up a little. If you want to work harder, bring your hands off the floor. But what I want you to think about is neutral and working whole back body. So I'm pressing through my feet so my kneecaps are not on the floor. I'm drawing my belly in and up, squeezing my shoulder blades and my elbows. Take one more breath. Exhale, lower down. Pause with your head on your hands. Let's rotate over onto our back body. And just bend your knees. Rock your pelvis a little bit. You might even want to lift your hips up and put them back down. Just take a moment to let your body find a neutral ground. We just did a lot of work in the hips, which affect the outer part of the back. We obviously did a lot of work in the shoulders and the arms. And so you ideally want to feel rinsed. You want to feel like you've created some space, like some stickiness has let go. Take your right ankle over your left. We did this in the beginning, but don't do the push. Just lift your legs up and come to a nice, easy stretch. Hold somewhere where your body's happy. If you want to really relax, just relax your feet all together. You can flex your right foot, especially if you have any kind of knee stuff going on. And just be in the stretch, this nice, easy. Oh, my hip says, yes, thank you so much for that nice, soft stretch. So as a reminder, and I know you guys know this, stretching a muscle group is great, but if you don't strengthen it also, you're going to get a real imbalance in your joint. And this is where a lot of people get into trouble. The stretch feels good, so they just keep doing more of that, and they don't strengthen it, and then it just ends up to get weaker and weaker. Go ahead and release your foot to the floor. And I want you to hop your hips over to the left. So you got your right leg crossed. You're going to let your legs go over to the right. So your right thigh is going to land on the floor. Maybe. Maybe you put a block under there. Take your left shoulder open, palm to the sky. See if you can find a nice, happy stretch here. Breathing into the middle of the body, really expanding the prana, expanding the breath. Take one more breath. And then slowly bring yourself back up. Hop your hips into the middle and uncross your leg. Stretch both legs down. Take a big stretch over your head. Make everything come to neutral for a minute. And then go ahead and release, bending the knees. Let's do the other side. Left ankle over right knee. Pick your right foot up. Find a stretch. Find a place that feels good in your body. We're winding down now. I don't necessarily need you to be working hard. Pay attention to where your shoulders and throat are. If you over pull your arms, your throat and your shoulders are going to get contracted. Finding that nice ease. And then go ahead and put your foot down. Now hop your hips over to the right. And let your legs float over to the left, reaching your right arm away from you, palm up. Now a little trick here, I just felt it in my own body, which made me remember to say something. If you're over in this twist and you start to feel stuff in your lower back that's too glitchy, if you use that technique that I did in the beginning where you push your ankle into your knee, your leg, your right leg in this case, will kind of counter contract because it needs to stay in place. And you're going to feel a release in that pulling area because you just turned your muscles on. Usually when we're in a stretch and we get into a glitchy area, it's because there's no stability. There's no anchor for the stretch to come from. So it feels really vulnerable. And the minute I did that, that spot went away, it feels better, and I can be here. Go ahead and bring your leg up. So if you find that in any stretch, try that little technique. Bring your legs, hips to center, bring your legs to uncross, and stretch your legs all the way out, arms all the way out again, one last time. And then as you exhale, knees to nose, give it a little hug. And then find your way into Shavasana. As always, setting yourself up for a really sweet final rest, any way that you like. And then once you stop moving, you've got yourself settled. I want you to just take a nice deep breath to signal to your body that you're coming to rest.
Take a nice deep breath. And start to slowly stretch and move, bringing yourself back to your body. As you feel ready, you can start to bend your knees, rolling to a side. Pause there for a moment. Then come up to sitting. We'll close the practice. Let's bring the hands together at the heart. Taking a moment for gratitude for our time together on the mat, our deep body wisdom, and our guiding light. May our light always shine brightly, and may we always see the light in each other. Namaste.